My name's Steve Lowe. I work for Ability First Australia as the Regional Manager of VicTAS YPIRAC System Coordination Program. The YPIRAC, or Younger People in Residential Aged Care System Coordination Program, is an initiative from the Commonwealth Department of Health, stemming from the Australian Government's YPIRAC Strategy 2020 to 2025. Our role, in essence, is to engage with people under 65 who are not NDIS participants, who are living in or at risk of living in residential aged care, and those not living in residential aged care that may be at risk of premature entry to other aged care services such as TCP, STRC and home care packages. I've got a very quick PowerPoint to go through if I press the right button, which I haven't. What have I done there? Done something wrong, as usual. It's fine. So Ability First Australia is a non-government organisation. We're a strategic alliance of, we came from a strategic alliance of 14 providers nationally. Scope and Anecto are the two Victorian members. And we successfully tendered to run the YPIRAC System Coordination Program, and we started last July. So I came on board in September and started building a team then. Amanda, I think, joined us in October. In essence, the program engages with people and helps them navigate state and federal disability health housing systems to find the services they need. It may well include testing for NDIS status, if appropriate. Our job is not to stop people or to get people out of resi aged care. Our job is to engage with people and explore their options and goals. So it's basic old-fashioned case management. We're a national program, so there's about 30 system coordinators around the country. Very importantly, I think the research arm of the program will show that who these folk are. So we know that people under 65 who have not been able to access the NDIS receive services from aged care, and we know that that's been a default, and it's been a very thankful default because there hasn't been anything else, especially in regional communities. And I live in Gippsland. I live in a town called Sale. We know that this program is going to show us, okay, who are these folks that are not going to get into the NDIS? What are their needs? And could there be a better policy and service response, especially for those much younger than 65, rather than resi aged care or ACAS services? So the research will go straight back up. The Commonwealth Department of Health are very interested in our program, given they funded it, and are very interested in getting a really clear idea on who this cohort are. We've got 8 system coordinators across Victoria, going from Bairnsdale to Bendigo to Torquay to Warrnambool, with about 4 systems coordinators in Melbourne. So we've got good reach across the state. All of our systems coordinators are experienced case managers and allied health professionals. Some come from resi aged care as facility managers. We've got someone who was a regional manager for DVA and home care services. We've got someone who was an ACAP assessor and delegate. Social workers, psychologists, nurses, so allied health professionals and disability professionals who've got significant case management and sector experience. So we've tried very much, given that our job is to navigate multiple systems, to build a team who've been experienced in those multiple systems. And even though we're a virtual team, it's very collegiate, not just for our region, but that collegiate sum of all knowledge across the state team. We refer to, so cohort 1 for us are those people already living in Resi Aged Care who are not in the NDIS. We have a data share agreement with both the Department of Health and the NDIA in relation to who these guys are, and our job is then to go to the Resi Aged Care facility and commence conversations with them. Even though we're funded by the Commonwealth Department of Health, our program, because it comes from the Australian Government's YPIRAC strategy 2020 to 2025, is overseen by what we refer to as JADF, the Joint Agency Task Force, and that is senior national directors from the Department of Social Services, the Department of Health and the NDIA to ensure that cross-sector collaboration. Younger people at risk of entering residential aged care, and you guys are probably more likely to come across this cohort. Our role is twofold, apart from that piece of research about really identifying who these guys are. Before, it's about looking at who they are, where they are, and what sort of options best suit their needs. So we will often test or retest NDIS, and we do have a direct sort of communication line for our ARF access request form submissions to the NDIA and get fairly timely responses. We're also engaging very strongly with hospitals and with ACAT teams and relevant community teams. We have had good success at both first tests and retests. If someone does not get into the NDIS, for those of you who have seen the new principles and guidelines for referring people aged under 65 to residential aged care, our role is to meet that person, explore all age-appropriate options, and if we cannot find age-appropriate options, we compile a summary report to submit to My Aged Care for referral to the local ACAS team. We will always send that to the ACAS team at the same time to give them a heads up and to enable that two-way conversation between, yes, this is what we've put in the report, this is why, is there any other information you need? A basic rundown for cohort 2, young people at risk of entering Resi Aged Care. We'll engage, we'll have a look at NDIS. So in alternate options in Victoria, you guys probably know these are HARP, there's HACPYP, there's the PHN, National Psychosocial Programs, there's some palliation. If we look at who our cohort 2 are at the moment, we have a large number of people who are at varying stages of a palliative of the palliative stage of their life, from a month to a couple of years. Those who are bariatric, obviously those who are not permanent residents, they won't be eligible for NDIS. Am I missing anyone, Amanda?
No, I think you've captured them all there, Steve.
So that's who we're often working with. So we're working with people with cancer, with comorbidities, with psychosocial disabilities. COPD and pulmonary issues come up a lot. One of the really interesting aspects that we've been able to shine a light on in this program is the interface between disability-related health needs. And we know that this is a significant area of concern and confusion across both disability and health sectors. And we're hoping to, we're already beginning to have a very clear view on where those issues intersect and what some possible easier solutions might be. We haven't fixed it yet, but I think the first job of shining a light is really important. With our relative success in submitting or resubmitting access request forms to the NDIS, one of the things we are able to do, we are doing is we're being able to actually reduce who this cohort is to give us a really clear idea. So we know who we're having more success with in relation to ARF submissions and who we're not. And it's actually shrinking the cohort, which is great because it's getting more people into the NDIS. Referral to us is quite easy. You can email me, you can ring our 1800 number. If you know your local system coordinator, you can get onto them. We get the younger person or their decision maker to sign a consent form. That consent does two things. It consents for them to join our program, which is not time limited and is free. It's also a consent to share information. We don't want to redo the good work that a lot of people have already done. We want to work alongside other people in this person's life. So we'll ask for health summaries, care summaries, diagnoses, functional assessments, and that means that our exploration about age-appropriate services and the possible then compilation of a summary report to my aged care or an ARF is quicker and is not duplicative and flows on from the work that you folk and others have already done.